So if you guys are in the, in America or something in the outside of the world, just know that you need to check your, world converter, a time converter, to know what time we're on that. There is a couple serious movies that's come out that's been made, last year or the year before, right? That's finally getting some light of day, and there's some serious stuff. And like, for me, like, my dad's dead, right? My step grandfather, right? But I don't care. I don't believe in stepness. Once once your dad's been with you for friggin' 40 odd years, that's your dad, right? So my dad's dad was in World War I as a minesweeper on the English Channel, right? And so World War II for us is part of our life. And so for me, I look a lot at the movies there and stuff. I look at the history there. My dad used to collect these magazines, the so-called men's magazines, and about the stories that, that they were right. And I miss them now because a lot of them got thrown out and stuff. I mean, these are like things from like the 70s, 60s. There were also like World War II, like, how you get like your Eagle Moss magazines with like toys and stuff. Well, they had those types, but not the toys and stuff, right? And so Dad used to collect those as well. I mean, he had albums of them. I wonder if I might have to go and see if he still got them or not. But like, they were left in like a shed at the back of the in the garden shed kind of thing, in like huge like suitcases. And so rats got into them, water got into them, moss got into them, and so we did clean out in about, I think 2019 or 2019. And so Rico, I was able to give Rico like about a huge pack of PC magazines, right? That came out here like from the 80s. Their dad used to, because my dad's been into computer games and stuff like that, and computers since like VIC 20, right? Like VIC 20, dude. Because you had VIC 20, you had Atari, VIC 20, and I think it was VIC 20, Atari, then Commodore 64, and we had all those three. And I kicked myself because I should have gone there and grabbed those early on before they got destroyed, because moisture and all that got into them, because those are like priceless now. I mean, not priceless, but antiques, right? So this is a movie called let me see if I can put it there. Yeah, so One Life, and after this is another movie, and we'll have a look at a bit more about this after we play this, right?
On air.
Okay, and you are just here.
Good night. Take Father back.
Now, an extraordinary story about a young man who many years ago visited Prague. What he found there were thousands of refugees at the mercy of Hitler's imminent invasion.
Do you ever think about the children and what happened to them?
I bet you got some stories.
That's really not about me.
We are working to evacuate these children by train to safety in Britain.
Why are you doing this, Mr. Winton?
Because I may be able to do something about it. I must.
Nikki, you must know we cannot save them all. You have to forgive yourself that.
I started to. I have to finish it.
We cannot let these people down.
It is incredible what you achieved.
We're doing as much as we can. I have a lot of faith in ordinary people.
Because I'm an ordinary person.
Save one life, save the world.
Forgive me, but how many children I was speaking about?
Can I ask, is there anyone in the audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton?
If you guys remember Schindler's List, right? And you should watch that movie, right? And this is kind of like goes hand in hand with that. I'm sorry about like how that's put out there. It's like over on my screen it looks like this, and then the other one looks like that. So that's One Life, and it's another movie that's coming out this year. And one thing I think I owe this to my dad, right? Who's in his 80s now. A love for history and research and knowing about the past. And I think And recently I've been thinking like that I have some sort of like compulsive disorder, because like once I think about, once I get stuck on a subject, I like to keep looking at it over and over again, and from all points, not just one, this way. I look at it from all around, because my dad, like, what they say in America, like college, right? But in New Zealand, university, and went to that, and has books and stuff like that has always been a part of my life. And like I mentioned here, that like I was taught how to read, because I didn't know how to read English when I was coming up, because I wasn't good at it. And here I am now a writer, right? Because early on I was taught how to read and how to pronounce words. I still have difficulty sometimes actually saying words, because I just don't know how to, say them in the right pronunciation and stuff. But one thing I think my dad has done by having books around the house, whenever I asked him a question, he would know the answer to it. And that made me think, oh, okay, so I should know the answer to it as well, right? If somebody asks me something about myself, about something that I'm doing, I should know answer to that as well. Because like if you go, well, why did you put that in there? I'm like, oh, I know why, right? I can tell you. And if I forget, I'll go, oh yeah, I've got it written down, And I think for us, I think we do a disservice to the past by trying to rewrite it, which is what I get really angry about when people want to change what the history was like. See, history is there to remind us what not to do and to learn from it. And that that's something very important to me, because I know my history is very important to me. There's parts of it that I fully hate about it, and things that happen to me and stuff. And there's things that happen to people around me, but I don't want it to change, because that's what made me who I am. That made my friends who they are, made my family who they are, because everybody grows. There's people that, the only people that we should laugh at are the ones that don't want to grow, that don't want to change. And I don't mean that in in an ugly way. I just mean that people shouldn't be forced to change. People should be just given knowledge and insight and go left to themselves to go, hey, time is a way of like bringing people around. Me, man, I'll go blah blah blah, and then later on I go, yeah, you know what, I was wrong at that point. Yeah, I was right, and then I go, yeah, because I was able to got new knowledge. I changed upon that knowledge. Now if I find the knowledge wasn't right, then I won't change. But if I find that it's it's something that's worthwhile taken on board, then I will. And I've always been open to that, because I think in our family, because we have multinational ethnic groups in our family, which is why I'm always pushing for equality in a real way, right? Not so, and diversity in a real way, not like, oh, we should hold down this this race over this race because now it's payback time. And I find that very offensive when people say, oh, the white people had it good so long and now we should do. That's two wrongs don't make a right, right? Because like they say, it's like blinding the blind, poking out one eye and poking out the other just so that everybody's fair, right? It doesn't work. And it's a dangerous way to look at the world. And I think this whole Google thing, which we're going to talk with, hopefully Rico will be on with Friday night with us on the Accusing Comic Books, because he's more technically minded than I am. I don't try to be who I'm not, and I don't try to push into things that I don't know much about. I just, there's things I'm interested in, I'll just superficially look at that. So another movie, actually, let's go look at this, the creators of this. Give me a sec here. I'm just trying to get around my webcam. It's not it. So I can see my screen. I've got a little tiny screen, and I've got like 43 inch and a 40 inch over the other side, because like I don't have room for that one over here. So the other one here is actually, no, we're going to look at the IMDb page for this, right? So Anthony Hopkins, as you know, Sir Anthony Hopkins, he's a legend in New Zealand, right? He was part of the fastest, I think Peter Jackson movie, The Fastest Indian, right? Based on the book. not the book, sorry, the movie with Peter Jackson. Is it Peter? Oh no, Roger Donaldson. Sorry, I think it was was it like helped or something produced or something by. But anyway, this was made in 2005, right? So in 2004, mid 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, I was at film school. So this was actually being made there in Invercargill while I lived there. And I actually saw him in passing at the cafe, right? And didn't say anything because I knew who it was. I'm not going to go mess with someone who's trying to get some meal, right? Trying to get coffee, because that's their time away from work. And I find that pretty interesting when people do that, when they just rock up to somebody who's having a meal with their family or just having a downtime. And and maybe even they're there because maybe they want to hang out with people. But I actually got to also say hi to Roger Donaldson. Somebody said, "Oh, this is the guy," right? I didn't even know who that was because he came into our, I think he came into our sports bar where I was like working in the bistro. He said, "Oh, that's the guy that's doing the directing that movie," and that's how small the place was, right? And here's the thing: in New Zealand, we don't get in people's faces just because they're famous in this way. And I think I love that about our culture, right? I should rate this. And I think it was an 8, if I remember right. I should say I love this movie. It's really well done. It's a biopic kind of thing, biography. And Roger Donaldson, if I remember right, he's one of our, long-time Kiwi directors, but he's Australian. But he's done quite a few movies, Species, horror movie, right? Watch that. That's pretty cool. I enjoyed that as well. Let's give it an 8 because I've got to give 7. It's been a while. I don't know when I picked it to give it a 6, but I did enjoy that. So he's done horror and now he's done a biography, But talking about Anthony Hopkins, right? For us, someone of his award-winning actor willing to work on a film about a New Zealand motorbike, customizer, watch the movie, you'll see, right? And it really, Burt Munro, right? The story of Burt Munro, sorry, I should say here, right? 1967, right? So the story of Nuzunda Burt Munro, who spent years rebuilding a 1920 Indian motorcycle, which helped him set the land speed world record, right? Not the American World Series kind of thing, where it's everybody but only Americans, right? That are, the World Series of softball, whatever, or baseball, and it's only American states that are playing in it. Not that sort of thing, but there's the entire world, right? So in Utah, set the world record for speed record for land, right? Not air, in Utah, Bonneville, Salt Flats, 1967. So do watch this movie. And as you know, Sir, I should say, Anthony Hopkins is a legendary actor. He's won so many awards. And so this story is about Sir Nicholas Nicky Winton, a young London broker who, in the months leading up to World War II, rescued over 600 children from Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia. See, we don't know about the other, we don't often hear about the other countries, around, Germany at that time in the 40s, right? Mid-40s, early 40s. But this is a really good one because this tells you about Czechoslovakia. There was other things happening as well. That was the Nazis were doing at that time, right? Around in Poland and Austria, Switzerland, France. France. I knew a lot about France because of Allo Allo, right? That because it played here all the time in New Zealand. It's a comedy from out of Britain, but it played here, right? So in early 1980s and so on, and maybe early 90s as well. And so it's 82 for 10 years, right? So 85 episodes. So this one's basically in France. It's a comedy, by the way, right? And not in France, Nazi occupied France. So in France during World War II, Rene Artois, Rene Artois runs a small cafe where I just reminded that, like in Howler, you know, it's a pizza cafe just that I'm doing right now as a comic book, and we're going to release it as a graphic novel. So like something like this in color at print, right? We're going to release the chapters, the 3 chapters or so, or 4 chapters as like digital, black and white, and then in color we'll release it in print, right? So it's going to be a nice little full color graphic novel. So in France during World War II, Rene Artois runs a small cafe where resistance fighters, Gestapo men, German army officers, and escaped Allied POWs interact daily, ignorant of one another's true identity or presence, exasperating Rene. It's such a, it's kind of like, you know, lets you see what was going on and laugh along with it, but also see the serious nature of it, because it never gets away. It never tries to downplay the seriousness of it. It's like, yeah, he's like the middleman, and it's such a cool show. And I think for me, I think after all those years, you know, and memory-wise, deserves a 10. And so, you know, like I said, we don't know about the other things, but except through entertainment and through cinema and through TV. And that's what I really, really appreciate about cinema and TV, is that you can tell stories in a quick way, visually, an entertaining way, without having to research a lot into it. But I always encourage people, if you enjoy it, you know, if this is something, do research on it, so you yourself are aware of what what was like. So yeah, so 600 kids, and like I said, Schindler's List, right? If you watch Schindler's List, you'll be able to find where are we? Let me bring this Schindler's List, and that came out like, wow, 30 years ago. So if like, the reason I'm saying that is like, you know, Schindler's List came out in 1993. This one, right? Oh, ran away from me. Right. So this has come out like basically 30 years later, which is, I think it's kind of you know, yeah, it's I think we in this this modern thing have become numb to atrocities, because we see it on our phone all the time. So we care, you know, we don't find it as shocking as it should be. And so it's I think social media's made us numb to these things. But like, let's have a look at this one here, and then we'll go into A Tattooist's Life. I think there's another movie that I want to bring up, and then we'll get something a bit more.
By law, I have to tell you, sir, I'm a Jew. Well, I'm a German. So there we are.
You want these people?
My people, I want my people.
Who are you, Moses?
They say your factory is a haven. They say you are good.
Who says that?
Everyone.
All you have to do is tell me what it's worth to you. What's a person worth?
No. What's one worth to you?
Whatever saves one life saves the world entire.
If you haven't, if you haven't, if you haven't seen Schindler's List, I recommend it. Because that's another biography, right? And the next biography we're going to look at is, I should mention, like, in One Life, right? It's the actress, actresses in it. It's like, so Lena Olin, and also I noticed that Helena Bonham Carter is doing a serious role, and you guys would know, if you're a Harry Potter fan, for those who are of this generation age, right, the last 20 years or something, and have grown up on, on Harry Potter rather than the classics like Edward Scissorhands and so on. You know her from, from her more Harry Potter roles, but I know her from like more crazy roles and so on. But the next movie we're going to look at is, let me bring that out of there, and is the Tattooist? Yeah, the Tattooist of Auschwitz, right? Which is basically, if I remember right, that's where Schindler's List was set. I may be wrong, but I'm just going to make sure about that. So while we watch this, I will try to get my information right.
We must keep living.
You want to write this down?
I think I'd just like to listen.
I was a young man in a terrible place. This is what it was every day. But I found something there. Someone.
We must keep living. Whatever it takes.
So that's coming to that is coming to Sky, right? So if you have Sky TV, you'll be able to watch it there. So yeah, Auschwitz is in Poland. I just did a search on it because I was like, yeah, I know the same place. So this was, Schindler's List was set there as well as the Tattooist. Now, where are we, Mr. Tattooist? Let me just. There we go. So the Tattooist of Auschwitz, right? It's got Harvey Keitel, who has, like, if I remember right, Harvey has done movies for a while. He's an award-winning actor as well. So this is based on a novel. There's a powerful real-life story, another real-life story, right? Of like, you've got Schindler's List, you've One Life, and now you've got this. So three real life stories. And so, if you don't, I don't know how much, as a viewer, you'll whether you know about what they mean by tattooist. There is that basically he's a guy that put the numbers on, on the Jewish. And not just Jewish, but mainly Jewish, like 600, something millions of them. I think it was, I don't have the exact number, but a lot, like a lot. And so he's the one who would like tattoo their numbers on them, so that when they took down the notes, the numbers were there, right? And that's what I think was like early on, like in Schindler's List, when you saw that where they're like burning, got the list of people's name that Schindler's trying to buy with money, right? And trying to buy the lives of people. Basically, this is how he's a guy that's going to basically take, put the numbers on them, and then they'll put the notes up, and then they'll give it to Schindler and go, yeah, this is to the commandant of the actual camp, right? The guy in charge, right? The manager, who's in charge of basically gassing them, right? And then burning them in a crematorium, all right? Basically mass murder, right? And so this is a story about the guy who's basically putting the numbers down. And so based on it, I'm not even trying to, pronounce that. That's like I was saying earlier, I have problems with pronouncing words. Title novel, this is the powerful real life story of Lale Sokolov, a Jewish prisoner who was tasked with tattooing ID number on prisoners' arms in the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp during World War II. This has got Melanie Limsky. Melanie is, of course, as you know, is a Kiwi, right? So she's popped back out of that one, hit the wrong one. So Melanie, New Zealander, who's been in many, her rise to fame was in Heavenly Creatures in 1994, right? And Peter Jackson's movie there, written by Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson, alongside Kate Winslet, right? International actress, American actress. So that was actually a good movie as well. It's about kind of like a real biography as well. It's kind of feel like a biography night tonight, where we're looking at one of the I think the first two female murderers in New Zealand's history, and so that's also worth checking out and to see that. And it's like it's got like its fantasy elements in it as well, because these girls lived in the create like fantastical worlds that they live in, and then they and then the murder that happens that they commit, right? But getting back to the Tattooist of Auschwitz, it's like I said, we need to be reminded of the past atrocities, because then we know how to be human and how not to be monsters. I think a lot of times we forget that it's easy to be a monster. It can be as simple as like turning a blind eye to somebody getting beaten up, or somebody being mistreated. Very simple, right? Some kid being bullied, or domestic. You don't put your say, hey, cut it out. It just seems like we've got to a point where we've become so individualistic due to social media. I blame social media a lot for that, but also fatherless homes, parents not being parents as well, because, and also bad parenting. There can be ones where there's no parents, and then there's also bad parenting. And so I think it's that everything sort of comes out of the home, I think, in social, in society. And so it's kind of sad to see the way we treat people now. And there's stresses, exterior elements in society that's also affecting it, like inflation, right? Income, weather, right? Like damaging, and buildings and something. Now you got money, you got to put out, you get health. All these things all play factors in it. But if your home isn't treating you to be a better person on how to deal with stress and situations, you're just going to grow up into being another stressed out person who's going to be a bad person growing up and treat people, in a bad way. And these are movies that like show us the pinnacle, the top of the pyramid, where people just, the end result of become careless to others, and being so full of uncaring apathy about other human beings that you tattoo them, right? And you make them into just a number, right? It reminds me of that song, or that show, The Prisoner. I'm not a number, I'm a real person, I'm a free man, and it's something like that sort of, I'm not just a person, I'm just not somebody on the screen. I'm actually a human being with so many different likes, dislikes, ideas, thoughts, and that's like everybody out here in this world, right? Every individual is made up of so many factors in their lives. And I think seeing things like this actually should be a reminder to us that how, when we stop thinking that people are more than just a face or a color or a race, that's when we, that's how we start then making them into a number. They're just individuals, they're part of a group. They're not actual individual beings. They're not actually someone with a heart, a soul, a family, and, concern for others. And that, they're just like us, right? So we, one of the golden rules, right, in life is, it's like treat others like yourself, like you want to be treated. Like, the golden rule, treat your neighbor like you want to be treated yourself. And I think the more we kind of concentrate on that, we'll be a better human beings, and society would be better for it.
And I've been waiting for the noise to die down, so I could have some time to think back to when I wanted to be with